Once Upon a Rhyme. Copyright Edelvives 2011. Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a rhyme, in a different place and time, in a little wooden shack, lived a young man called Jack. Jack lived with his mother and a very old cow. One day the cow stopped giving milk. "Mother," said Jack, "what shall we do now?" "Take the cow to market, Jack, and make sure you get a good price for her." Jack put on his boots and said, "Okay, Mother." On the way to market, he met an old man with a stick. "9 beans for your cow," said the old man. "But these beans are magic. Plant them carefully, and tomorrow there will be a beanstalk in your garden as tall as a pine tree." Jack was amazed by the old man's words. He took the beans and ran home on top of the world. "Jack," said his mother, "what have you done? The old man has tricked you. Oh, what a stupid son!" Feeling terrible, Jack threw the beans out of the window. But the next morning, when Jack opened his eyes, he saw a giant beanstalk as tall as the sky. He jumped out of bed and ran into the garden. "Come down," his mother said, but Jack didn't listen. Jack climbed and climbed until he reached the top. He saw a castle door and decided to knock. The door slowly opened and Mrs. Giant appeared. "Oh, dear," said Mrs. Giant, "you're just in time for tea." "Quick," said Mrs. Giant, "hide in this shoe. We don't want Mr. Giant to eat you." The giant sat down and started to eat. "Fee, fi, fo, fum," he said. "I smell fresh meat." "It must be the soup I've made for you," answered his wife. "I put lots of lizards in it, just as you like." The giant finished the soup with a big slurp, and then he gave a very loud burp. "Time to count my gold now, wife. My money bag, quick!" Jack watched the giant count his money. The giant was rich. Later, when the giant was sleeping like a baby, Jack jumped out of the shoe and took the bag from the table. Then he slid down the beanstalk as fast as he could. "Now we have lots of money to buy some nice food." "Maybe the beans really were magic," Jack's mother said. "School tomorrow, Jack. Off you go to bed." Jack and his mother lived happily for a while, thanks to the money from the giant in the sky. One day, of course, there was no more money, and Jack's poor mother began to worry. So Jack climbed the beanstalk again until he reached the top. He went to the castle and gave a big knock. Jack heard the giant clop, clop, clop. "Quick," said Mrs. Giant, "hide in this sock." The giant sat down and started to eat. "Fee, fi, fo, fum," he said. "I smell fresh meat." The giant finished his soup with one big slurp, and then he gave a very loud burp. "Time to see my magic hen. Wife, bring it to me quick." The hen laid a golden egg. The giant was still rich. When the giant was sleeping like a little baby, Jack jumped out of the sock and took the hen from the table. He slid down the beanstalk as fast as he could. "Now we have golden eggs, Mother, to buy some nice food." But one day, the hen died. So Jack decided to return to the castle in the sky. This time, the giant was waiting for Jack. "The boy who stole my hen and my money has come back." The giant finished his soup with one big slurp, and then he gave a very loud burp. Jack watched as a golden harp began to play alone. "Oh," said Jack, "I could sell it and buy a throne." When the giant was sleeping like a little baby, Jack ran as fast as he could and took the harp from the table. But the harp shouted, "Wake up! Wake up!" "Run," said Mrs. Giant, "or my husband will eat you up." Jack ran from the giant as fast as he could go. "Oh," the giant said, "I've got vertigo!" When he reached the bottom, Jack chopped with his axe, and down came the giant with an enormous crack. Thanks to the music the magic harp played, Jack and his mother lived happily ever after. And that's the end of this tale. Once Upon a Rhyme. Copyright Edelvives 2011. Jack and the Beanstalk.